What's up, SEO pros? Welcome back to part 2 of the How to Get SEO Clients series. And today we're going to be talking about how to get clients with video. So I'm actually able to get a lot of clients through this YouTube channel, and I'm going to show you how I do it and how you can do it too. It's pretty easy to do, and we're just going to go through it step by step. So I'm going to give you guys an assignment at the end of this so you can pretty much do the same thing. And that's pretty much it. Let's just get into it. So step number 1 is you're going to want to figure out how you're going to stream. Obviously, you can stream like I am right now. I'll let you guys know all the different things I have for this setup. Maybe I'll just show you really quick. Here, let me see if I can grab this camera. So here, let me just change the views really quick. Oh, actually, I can't. So whatever. Just look at the top left. So what you can see here is we have a computer that is custom built. I can tell you guys what I'd recommend if you do get one of these in a second. I also have a Rode mic, which I would recommend either the Rode mic or the Blue Yeti. And I'll write all this stuff out for you. Just a mechanical keyboard, a mouse, and then 2 monitors. The reason why you really want 2 monitors for streaming is because the first monitor is going to be for basically working, and then the second monitor is going to be like for your streaming like setup. And I'll show you guys how to set this up. But basically what you have is once you open up your software, it's going to be here on the right. I'm going to show you what settings you're going to need to like basically control this, and it gets a little confusing at first, but once you set it up, it's pretty straightforward. So first of all, let's talk about the hardware you're going to want. So I would say the minimum, let me just bring up a new notepad. So how to get SEO clients part 2 video. And I usually recommend streaming. You could do pre-recorded video too. I just think it's so much faster. So we'll just talk about hardware requirements first. Fun. Okay. So hardware. So I would either recommend getting a Blue Yeti microphone, which I think they're about microphone. I think, let me see how much they are. They run about, on eBay, about $32 apparently, but on other websites you can get them for like $89. I'll just link the one on Amazon. So this one's $129. So that's gonna be probably my first choice in terms of affordability. And then if you don't get a Blue Yeti, I'd probably recommend a Rode microphone, USB microphone. And it's a little bit more expensive, but it sounds a little bit better, just a tiny bit. You don't notice too big of a difference. So let me grab that. Oops, that's the wrong one. There it is. So that one's $169. And like I said, the quality is not a huge difference. The one thing about the Blue Yeti that's nice is that there's a little gain volume on it that you don't really get with the Rode, but it's still, you know, the Rode's still good because you just adjust it in the settings. Okay, so those are the 2 links for the mic. So that's number 1. Number 2 is just get a simple camera. So first of all, we have microphone. Then we have camera. And for the camera, I would recommend you know, something cheap. You don't really need anything super. I mean, the one I'm using right now is just a HD 1080p Logitech, which was like $60. So pretty cheap, but you know, if you're gonna be recording like me, like with like your face in the top left, then you don't really need a really nice microphone or camera. And I will tell you about the different options if you are gonna record with like another camera and like it's gonna be more like first person, because some people like that sort of layout. So either way, I'll just find the camera, Logitech 1080p webcam. Oh, C920, I think that's the one it is. You can get that one for 80 bucks. Not a bad deal. So those are the two things you definitely want to get no matter what. Next thing is you're going to want like a computer that I would recommend it being hardwired. Computer with Ethernet port at least, because it's better to stream on like Ethernet than it is with Wi-Fi. And in terms of the computer, I would say, you know, it doesn't really matter in terms of like the RAM or any of that stuff. You know, 8 gigabytes of RAM is fine. You have maybe like, you know, the processor doesn't really matter. Let's just say at least i5 processor. You know, whatever else you want to get, like the graphics card doesn't really matter. So all those things don't really matter unless you're going to be doing like streaming for gaming. Then the graphics card would matter and stuff like that. But so computer, basic computer, could be laptop or desktop, doesn't really matter. But the one thing that you do want to make sure is that you have a computer with decent internet connection. And then also I would recommend trying to get like at least 1 to 5 megabytes per second upload speed from your internet provider, because otherwise you're gonna have a really low bit rate and the screen's gonna be kind of hard to see when you're streaming. Okay, so that's what I would recommend for that. Now for the software, I would just recommend OBS. And OBS is an open broadcasting software, which is what I'm using now, and it's free. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna download it to whether you have Windows, Mac, or Linux, which I'm assuming most of you don't have Linux. Maybe some of you do. Okay, and once you do that, you're gonna pretty much just install it and then open it. And once you open it, so actually, sorry, I think that's pretty much everything for the hardware requirements. Of course, you just need like a mouse and a keyboard, but or in a screen. But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much everything. Oh, sorry, one other thing is for your what's it called? For your microphone or for your mic, yeah, you're gonna want some sort of stand. If you can see this right here, there's like a stand that I have connected to the desk, like so, and that's really helpful. If it's just standing right here, like down here, it's like really difficult to how is that, to like talk to, right? Because I'd have to be like this, like talking to the table. So like having like an adjustable stand like this really makes it a lot more convenient. And this is something I wish I would have gotten a long time ago when I first started streaming. And they're pretty cheap. Let me figure out where those are. Go here. And we'll do microphone mount for Blue Yeti. You can use it, the same one for Yeti or for the Rode. It's like the same thing. And I use this one, I believe. Is this it? No, hold on. There it is. This is one. It's only $12.50, but it works amazing. So this is the best deal in town. Okay. Plus and mic stand. Some other things you can get too is like a stand-up desk if you wanted to get one, or you know. Trying to think if there's anything else I missed. Headphones are also really important, because if you're going to be talking to somebody and you want to be able to have their audio go in, like say for instance you're interviewing somebody or talking with somebody on Skype or whatever, and you want that to be like part of the video, it's really important to have headphones, because otherwise you'll sometimes get like echo going on at the mic. Even if you're just talking to people in general too. So I would recommend some sort of headphones as well. some sort of headphones as well. Doesn't really matter what you use. I mean, I'm using Dr. Dre Beats, but I got them off Craigslist for like $100, so got a good deal. So I think that's everything that you're gonna need. I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, you're also gonna need a YouTube account. So let's talk about software now. So actually, I should put OBS down here. So software, you need OBS, you need YouTube account, and you also need like a Facebook account if you're going to be streaming on both. So I like to stream on both because that way I can stream into Facebook groups and into YouTube while at the same time, so I can get content on both places. If you guys want to know how to do that, I'll show you maybe in a different series. Just let me know. So hold on. Middleman Digital Marketing said, when just starting out, to boost rank, would you recommend high retention views or other types of inflated engagement? Does unlisted techniques still work for a guy just starting out? I don't know. I don't really do black hat stuff, so I've never really experimented with it. I'm sure it could probably work, but I would rather focus on trying to create stuff that people actually like instead of just, you know, getting views based on like black hat stuff. Lean Click says, raffle off your custom built desktop. Yeah, right. Dude, this thing was like 3.5K. It was ridiculous. And if you guys want to know how I built it, the desktop as well, let me know. I think I actually have a video of me like trying to build it. I could upload it from my phone. It was hell when I first did it. Okay, so that's it for the software requirements, I believe. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into OBS. You're gonna open up OBS once you have it installed. You're gonna launch anyways. I'm gonna show you the different settings you're gonna want to put in here. We'll go in here, and what you're gonna see when you first get in here is just a blank screen. It's just gonna say scene 1. So the first thing you're gonna want to do is, I would recommend going to Tools, Auto Configuration Wizard, and then either optimize it for streaming or recording depending on what you're doing. Like I said, it's the reason why I like streaming is because it makes it easy to be able to work on clients and make that into a tutorial at the same time. So like just like the national SEO series that we're doing right now, it's really just giving me an excuse to be able to work on my website while at the same time making it seem more like a tutorial or a series. So if you are going to do streaming and recording a secondary, just click on that and it will give you the different settings. If you want to have 1980 by or so 1080p, then you would click on that. But if you don't have a high enough upload speed, you're only going to be able to do really like 1280 by 720. So that's what I do for streaming. And then I do 30 frames per second. So I'll press next, and then this is where you would set up your API. Your API key is going to be in YouTube. I'll show you where to find it right now. So we'll go to youtube.com. You're going to go to Creator Studio once you're logged in. You're going to go to live streaming. And that's where we're at right now. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to go take this API key, copy that, and then go back to OBS, change it to whatever you're on YouTube, plug it in there, and then for your video bitrate, people recommend that if you have like 5 megabytes per second, to set this to like 4,000. It never works for me. The highest I can usually set it is like 1,500, and I have 5 megabytes per second upload speed. So then you'd press next. It's going to optimize your settings, and then once it does, you'll be pretty much good to go to start recording. So what's going to happen is you're going to want to start recording like your screen now. So what you can do is you have all these different options. You can record. What I normally do is just a display capture. So it would be like this display capture, press OK, and then I choose which display I want, either number 1 or number 2. And so this is my other computer screen. So this is why it's so important, right? Because if I'm going to be streaming my other screen on the right with this software right here, well, I'm going to want to be able to see what's going on over here and be able to work over here. So that's why it's really good to have 2 screens. Otherwise, if you only have 1 screen, you're going to have to like press start streaming, minimize it, and then just work, and then constantly check your comments and whatnot. Okay, other than that, what you're going to want to do is figure out your mic volume and your desktop audio. So one of the things I do within my mic is I go to settings and I go to filters and I turn on noise gate. And the way noise gate works is if I have a fan going on in the background, which I do, in order for the fan not to be showing, like watch, if I stop talking, you don't hear the fan. And the reason for that is because I have noise gate on. So basically, if the mic will only pick up noise if I start talking at a certain threshold. And your closed threshold should always be below your open threshold. So the way you set that is you just go in here and change it until you see that this starts working and it's not picking up like a background noise. Maybe turn on a fan in the background to make sure it's not picking that up. I also have noise suppression on here as well, which I think it suppresses the noises in the background as well. And you can experiment with this if you'd like. So those are the two settings that I put on under filters for mic. In terms of making sure that you are using the right microphone, if you have multiple, just make sure you go to properties and set, instead of default, set it to whatever you want it to be. So for instance, microphone, Rode mic, that's the mic I was just showing you. And then the desktop audio, if you want to be able to like have music play or something in the background, you would just set this to whatever your headphones are or whatever your speakers are, and then it'll pick up any noises. Now you want to make sure that this doesn't really go above green, and the way you can adjust it is just by dragging this while sounds are happening. And if it just barely hits the yellow, then that's usually where you want to be. So that's pretty much it. If you're on the Blue Yeti, you're going to be adjusting the gain with your microphone. If you're on the Rode, you're going to just go into your sounds over here or recording devices, and then you're going to right click and go to properties, and then you can change the microphone gain here. Okay, so that's how you do it. Now in terms of the streaming and the recording, so if you want to start streaming, you would press this, and the way this works is you're just going to press start and a little box will show up. Let me show you what this looks like. Let me just cancel out of this one now. So this is the current one I have. A little box is going to show here in the bottom, and it's going to say green. You want to make sure that this is green, because if it's not, it means you're usually dropping frames, and you don't want to drop frames, because if you drop frames, it'll cause lag, and people will like sometimes your voice will not be synced to your mouth, and like a bunch of bad stuff can happen. So just make sure you're not dropping frames, and this has to do with the bit rate. So if your bit rate's too high and this turns into red, this will basically not be a good thing. So that's pretty much it. Oh, by the way, this is 60 frames per second because I was streaming gaming the other earlier. So I wouldn't keep it like this if you are going to be, because the more frames per second is usually the higher bit rate you have to set. So hopefully that didn't sound too much like Chinese, but it is kind of something you have to mess around with. Link Click says you have a ring light. Actually, I don't, but I have this up here, which is maybe something you guys want to get. It's just like a thing I got from Home Depot. It's just like a light bar, and then I can just turn it on and off. I just mounted it with some screws. And sometimes it's helpful to get better lighting, but I also custom built this desk right here. Actually, that one, the brighter one's a little bit better lighting, that I'm able to mount stuff to. I actually mounted this screen onto this desk here, but I don't know if I'll be keeping it when I move. I'm going to be moving very soon, and I might be just getting an Evo desk, which is not going to be like this. Okay. So sorry to bore you guys with all the details, but you have to know all this stuff in order to make a good stream. The alternative is, if you don't want to learn all this stuff, just go to Google Hangouts, share your screen on Google Hangouts, and then just walk people through tutorials. Now, once you have your setup up, what you're going to want to do is, let's start with the homework now. So homework for today. Move this now. So the homework for today is to make sure you have all the hardware you need to stream or record. Oh, one other thing, guys. If you are going to be recording, make sure when you do record that you go to File, Settings, Output, and then change the type of recording format from FLV to MP4, because if you record in FLV, you're gonna have to extract it, and it's really annoying. If you record in MP4, you basically just go to the video after you're done recording, and then you can put it into whatever your editing software is, and then edit it there. So I just wanted to make that quick note. Okay, so homework for today: make sure you have all the hardware you need to stream or record. Download software from download OBS for streaming and set up with the following specs. Streaming, I would recommend 1280 by 1080p with a bit rate that's about half of your megabytes per second upload, unless that works for you. I don't know. For on YouTube, it's different. On Twitch, I can do higher megabytes per second, but times 100, I guess that would be 5 times 100 would be 5,000, I believe, right? No, it would be 500, so times 1,000. And 30 FPS, and then recording would be 10, or sorry, what is it? 1080? No, 1920 by 1080. What is the other one? Hold on, let me check it really quick. The other one would be, what is 1080p? What's the first number? I forgot. Gotta open up OBS really quick. I think it's 1920, right? 1920 by 1080, yeah, okay. Just didn't sound right for a second. 1080 at 60 frames per second if you want. The bitrate doesn't matter for recording. Or option 3, just use Google Hangouts with screen share function. If you want to do that, all you have to do is go into events here on your Creator Studio. You do new event. Once you have the event up, you're going to basically just go into it. It's going to have a little press go live button in there, and then you just do a screen share on the top left with the green button, and you're good to go. You're live. So it's a lot easier than remembering all this stuff. But OBS, in my opinion, is way better. There's a lot of freaking issues with Hangouts, and there's can be lag, and the audio sometimes sounds awful. So I would try to stick to OBS if you can. So you're going to set up all that stuff, and then once you do, come up with a few ideas on what you want your content to look like. So obviously, if you're going to be doing lead generation, you know, it's going to be better to do more like showcasing. A few ideas that I would say are good to start with is to start doing like free site audits. People love these, and I used to do them for free all the time, and then people would end up hitting me up off of YouTube afterwards, after they saw that I did, you know, a site audit for somebody. Now, of course, you're going to want to optimize these based on keywords, so, you know, SEO audit 2018, that whatever it is. But you'd be surprised how many people actually end up contacting you for an audit after you start doing these things. So maybe a free site audit you can use Mastermind template, which I have here, which should really help. You just run through the Mastermind roadmap template, which, like I said, will make your auditing a lot easier, I think. Go in here. And then the next thing would be, let's see, so come up with a few ideas what your content could look like. A few ideas you could start with: free site audits, maybe a series where you're teaching something, maybe local SEO or national SEO, just pretty much anything you know about. Just by teaching these things in a series type of way, people end up really liking them for some reason, and you don't have to worry too much about just trying to rank one video anymore. If you have a series of 10 videos, generally you can rank that series a lot easier, or at least rank one video out of that series versus you know, whatever. So I would just say, for instance, a free site audit series where you're teaching local SEO, national SEO, or anything you know about, or just maybe some quick tips or Q&As. Q&As off of Facebook groups or Quora. So you basically just go on like Quora.com, or you type in site Quora.com, and then in quotations SEO, and then filter by tools anytime to past 24 hours. And these are the last questions about SEO in the last 24 hours. Here, let me just type in search engine. I'm not really sure. Let me just do last week then, because I don't know what's going on here. Let's do past week. SEO. What are types of SEO? What are the types of SEO? So that could be your first question. You could just start putting them in a spreadsheet and then answering them with videos, getting them transcribed, and then put onto a blog post. So maybe we'll do that as our next part of the series, like actually going over doing that. But for the moment, I mean, I think that's pretty good homework, is, you know, come up with a few ideas. Once you have them, start hitting the record button and start publishing a few videos. And, you know, if you want to edit them, you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So I would say, like I said, you know, after that, maybe make a few videos and let me see what they look like. Send email to im@chaserenner.com with video link. So I'll let you guys know what I think about your videos if you end up doing this assignment. But that's pretty much it for today. Now you guys know how to make some videos, how to, you know, do this stuff. I'm interested to see what your videos look like in the future. You know, this, like I said, is the first part. You're going to want to eventually also, you know, probably post this in Facebook groups and get some eyes to it if you don't have any subscribers or anything. But that's a really good start. So I'll just copy that for part 2. Hopefully you guys liked part 2. Let me know if you didn't and what you want to see next. And for everybody who's watching the live stream right now, I'm just going to end the recording. And for all the people who are watching the recording, thanks for stopping by. Make sure to check out video 3. Until I see you next time, happy SEOing.